We've done lots of shit in Australia. Uh, we've been to the beach. I tried to learn how to surf.
You learned how to catch cabs without wearing pants?
I learned that you don't have to wear pants in Sydney. Few of the bands on this festival that we knew before. Twin Shadows, good friends of ours.
Washed out.
Caroline's good friends with Anthony from M83.
Kurt from Pains of Being Pure at Heart. You might not know how proper of a southern accent Ernest from Washed Out has.
Very proper.
Yeah. It's not that proper. Right off the very get-go, we knew that we wanted to kind of restrict what sounds we were going to use, and even though the songs could be very different, only use a certain palette of sounds from one song to the other. For example, like all the songs have the same bass tone from Patrick. I've restricted the synth sounds to about 10 for the whole album, whereas the old record had like 5 new ones for each song. So I don't know.
We had a better idea when we started this record what we were after and what we wanted it to sound like. Well, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and when I go back home, I like to go downtown onto 2nd Avenue and go to all the honky-tonk bars where some of the best musicians in the world play honky-tonk music.
When I go home to Connecticut, where I grew up, I like to go to this tiny peninsula that sticks out off the kind of, main suburb. It's kind of what do you call it? It's kind of a wildlife reserve, and I like taking bike rides there with friends or just by myself, and like watching the sunset. And there's all sorts of geese and cranes and these kind of stone structures there, and it's beautiful. You don't feel like you're anywhere close to civilization when you're there.
We live in Brooklyn, and there's lots of things that we like to do there. What I like about where we live is that all of our work and play and home are very close to each other.
To be honest, as a band, we entered the market long after music piracy became I don't know why I'm saying it in quotes. Long after like free downloading became the kind of prime way for people to discover new music. So we're part of the problem. I'll say we're part of the problem. But frankly, a lot of materials that musicians use to make music now are software that's downloaded illegally, or even music that's not their own. It's using other people's material that's created things like hip hop in the first place, or like a lot of beautiful stuff comes out of reappropriation of other work. And I think it might cut down on the amount that the music industry is allowed to sell or make in terms of profit, but I don't think it's going to limit creativity at all. And then I think it's really funny that they're using Hollywood as the biggest example of the industry that's going to suffer, and in a way it will, because you look at movies like E.T., okay, that must have cost so much money to make, and maybe in 200 years when there's no money in the industry, they wouldn't have been able to make it, unless there's shitloads of product placement, which is probably going to be how they have to do it in the future. But if you look at most of the movies that come out of Hollywood now, 95% of them are garbage, and they're all expensive, so I don't mind draining that industry. It's so gross. Drive. Drive is amazing.
Yeah, try it. Yeah, that's an amazing movie.
If we knew how to make that kind of stuff, definitely. I wouldn't have been creative enough even to think to pair that kind of music with that film.
For the rest of the year, we're mostly just touring. This is the beginning of a long tour here in Australia. So we're going to go around the world once, then take a little break, and then probably do it again.